Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer number LB4333-400-632. This is a lube-bearing single-acting spring hinge intended for Johnson brand doors and frames, and that's a reference to the templating of the screw holes. We'll get into that in a moment. Dash 400-632 single acting spring hinge. Let's dissect the part number a bit. The LB stands for lube bearing. It's a maintenance free construction type bearing from Bommer on single acting hinges, spring hinges as well. The 4333 is a reference to its compatibility with Johnson brand doors and frames, and that means a square corner on one end, a 5/8 radius corner on the other, and then the location of the screw holes, specifically how they're patterned and templated. There is a link below this video to the template, which shows everything important dimensionally about this hinge, so that you'll be able to use that to compare against your existing installation to ensure that it's compatible with what you're replacing, typically a replacement, or maybe a new installation. You'll be able to view that template. It's a full mortise hinge. You can see when the hinge is opened up, the swag on the hinge leaves tells you that when the door is closed and the hinges are brought parallel, they're intended to be mortised to the edge of the door and flush to the frame. The 400 in the part number is a reference to the size. It's 4 inches tall, and the height goes first. You call it out first anyway. And then 4 inches wide. This 4333 will measure slightly larger than 4 inch. It's a feature of it being compatible with Johnson brand material. That's why it looked like it was about 4 3/16. The 632 is a reference to the finish and the base material. It specifically means that it is a steel-based hinge with a polished brass plating over it. Okay. So that template shows the location of the screw holes, and that's really what's crucial for use in lining it up. It also shows you the thickness of the leaf is 96 thousandths of an inch, and that is typical for residential grade sort of preparations. Residential hinges are about 96 thousandths, and this will work anywhere from 85 to 109 thousandths without really any retrofitting required in terms of the thickness of the leaf. Screws are included in a complementary finish. Now it's a spring hinge, so let's get to the matter of that. If you've got an 85-pound door, 2 spring hinges are what's recommended. If you have a 110-pound door, 3 spring hinges are recommended. In any event, not to exceed a 3-foot by 7-foot door. Now, I'm a fan of all spring hinges, not because of the obvious reason, but because I have found in my years of installing and adjusting residential spring hinges is that you get a greater amount of success in the door actually getting all the way closed and latching when you've got more springs sharing the workload. I liken it to a tugboat. They don't go very fast, but they can pull a lot of weight. And when you have all spring hinges, you'll be able to share that load across the spring hinges. The top hinge is doing the majority of the work, but the middle and the bottom will help it, push the door, or, get the door into a closed position, because there's a lot happening. The door has to overcome, the hinge has to overcome the weight of the door. It has to overcome wind resistance, air pressure, I mean to say. It has to overcome the friction of the latch when it strikes the strike plate in the frame. And it has to go from a position of negative energy, to a standstill sort of situation where it has to actually, unleash the stored energy in the spring to get it closed. And the idea is to get it to close reliably, get it to close without slamming. These are problems that you have when you're underpowered in the spring department. Now, setting the tension on the spring is accomplished by the two included parts. The tension rod, that's a black piece of steel, and then a tension pin, which is that silver piece right there. So what happens is, and I'll stick the tension rod out from the package just a little bit. When you install the hinge with the tension collar towards the top of the door, you insert it into one of the holes, and you turn it clockwise, only clockwise, and that will set the tension on the hole, set the tension on the tension collar. So as you rotate that, there we go. As you rotate that, you reveal new additional holes inside of there. And it's into one of those new holes that you insert that tension pin. Bommer recommends that you exceed no more than 3 holes exposed when setting tension on the hinge. And you can do that in either a left-hand or right-hand application, but because this hinge is not symmetrical, if you were to turn it over, just rotate that counterclockwise if it's pointed towards the bottom. So it will certainly work in either direction. I find it more reliable when you've got extra spring power on the job. You know, you might be overcoming a situation like the front door of a condo building or a 3-flat sort of building. In the winter, everything's closed up, the windows are closed. There you go. You can set the spring hinges to work reliably. In the summer, when the rear door of the building or windows are open, air pressures change, so you'll need to adjust it. In any event, with not enough spring hinges, you're just reducing your ability to really control the door. Spring hinges, in my opinion, are a band-aid. Not the best way to close a door. Hydraulically controlling it with a door closer is superior. However, spring hinges have a very specific need in the marketplace that they fill very well. So, this hinge is also available in a variety of different patterns to be compatible with different door brands, like Therma-Tru and Permador. And therefore, the type of configuration required will change, the location of the screw holes, the treatment to the corners. And then, of course, all of those hinges are available in several different architectural finishes as well. Brasses, bronze, chromes, things of that nature. The last thing I'd like to show you is the Bommer logo. Right above it, it says Made in USA. A fact that Bommer is quite proud of, as am I to represent them. If you have any questions on the Bommer number LB4333-400-632, single acting spring hinge and a polished brass finish, or any other Bommer product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.